What if the most mature leadership response to both success and failure is the same two words? We'll see. I want to tell you an ancient story that might completely change the way you respond to wins, losses, and everything in between. This is a story that is as old as our country that I live in, but yet its principles still apply to today. You just got a promotion, but that's actually not a good thing. And your top performer quit, but that's actually not a disaster. Maybe your budget gets cut, you land a new contract, a project fails, or you receive public praise. You see, as a leader, you're constantly tempted to label events as good or bad in real time. So if you're interested in understanding why "we'll see" might be the most important word you hear today, stay tuned. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Tyree. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a Christian and an Army officer, and I've been able to lead in some of the most stressful environments. My career has had many ups, it's had many downs. I've had a lot of failures, and I've learned a lot from them as well. And I've learned some mistakes that I want you to take the lessons from so that you don't have to go through it the hard way. Now, one of the lessons I learned was this little parable. I don't know where it started, but from what I hear, it's hundreds and hundreds of years old. And this is the story of the Chinese farmer. It's deceptively simple, but if you really understand it, it will change how you lead under pressure and how you see the world around you. So let's get into the story. So there's a Chinese farmer, and the way that he lives is he has a horse that pulls his plow. But however, one day that horse runs away. And everyone in the village comes to him and they say, "Oh my, what bad luck." And he calmly responds, "We'll see." Then a few days later, the horse returns, but this time with wild horses. And now he has more horses to tend to his farm. And everyone in the town comes back to him. They say, "What good luck, what good fortune." And he just responds with, "We'll see." Now you see his son is trying to break in these horses. He's trying to break in this wild stallion. And while training one, he falls off and he breaks his leg. And then all the neighbors come back again and they say, "Wow, what bad luck. Your son has broken his leg. How can he help you?" And the farmer responds with, "We'll see." But then a war comes, and all the young men are drafted, but his son isn't because he's still recovering. And the villagers come to him once again and they say, "What good luck you have." And the farmer just responds with, "We'll see." Let's let that breathe in for a little bit. Because what this story actually is about, it's not about passivity. It's about emotional discipline. It's about refusing to let these short-term outcomes control your internal stability. I think a lot of leaders get in trouble when they over-celebrate the short-term wins or they overreact to the short-term losses. They can tie their identity to these immediate outcomes. But the farmer understood something that most leaders forget. You don't always know how the full story is going to end. And from this story, there's a couple leadership lessons that I think you can take away. Because I know I did throughout my career. The first leadership lesson: don't overreact to success. Early success can create complacency. Public praise can also inflate your ego, and a promotion can expose certain weaknesses. But just because something feels good doesn't mean it's actually good long term. We'll see. That phrase protects you in humility, making sure that you're not overreacting to the success. And it also gives you a reminder to look at all the things that led to that success. Because oftentimes it's not just you. It could be your team, it could be the circumstances, and sometimes it could be the luck or the Lord. Number 2, don't collapse under failure. Oftentimes, projects are going to fail, people are going to quit, and plans are going to fall apart. But what looks like a disaster today may create strength for tomorrow. And I know this lesson because I learned it the hard way. You see, I've had the privilege of leading a Ranger company, and that was one of the highlights of my life. But what most don't realize is that I actually failed Ranger School not only my first time, but my second time as well. But it was in that crucible that created the understanding of leadership that I needed so that I could one day become the leader that my future soldiers would need. You feel like those failures are holding you back, but what you may not understand that those failures may be teaching you a lesson that will spring you forward. The leaders who can endure are not the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who refuse to panic in those difficult times. So when you face those failures, when you face that adversity, just respond with, "We'll see." And you'll realize that that phrase might actually protect your own resilience. When your team is faced with a difficult situation, they're gonna look to you as their leader, and your response is gonna set the tone. You look at the most recent national championship coach, Indiana. Now, when you look at that coach, he's not one who's known for smiles. Not exactly known for frowns either, just an even-keel demeanor.
Is that right? I've never been satisfied.
And I'm telling you that that's contagious. Making sure not to get too high, not to get too low. Focusing on what is the actual standard. And when you're faced with these adversity, just saying "we'll see" is not a weakness. It gives you the ability to portray that strength under control. When we look at this story and when we look at leadership, it's important to understand that we're not playing in the short game. but leadership is for the long game. Most events are really just chapters. Very rarely are they actually conclusions. And when you rush to label something good or bad, you're limiting your own perspective and the own growth of your team. Mature leaders understand that you can control your response, not the actual outcome. So here's my challenge for you. The next time you see something great happens, pause. And the same time, when you see something terrible happens, also pause. Before you celebrate, before you panic, just say it quietly. We'll see. And that's not because you don't care. It's because you're playing the long game. Because leadership isn't about reacting. It's about responding with a certain sense of discipline. And sometimes the two most powerful words you can say as a leader are simply, we'll see. Now, we'll see if you watch one of the next videos that come up. And if you have the time, please feel free to subscribe. But I thank you so much for spending your time with me, and hopefully this helps you on your leadership journey and your call with leadership. God bless. Until next time,